Chosen one. This moment did not find you by accident. Heaven itself arranged this intersection, aligning time, breath, and awareness, so you would hear what has been released. Chosen one. The pause you feel around your life is not delay, it is alignment. The unseen has been preparing this exact moment, and now the veil thins. Chosen one. You are standing at the edge of what was promised but long concealed. The pressure, the resistance, the quiet stretching of your spirit were never signs of loss. They were signs of proximity. You have been positioned for sudden elevation, for a transfer that does not arrive through effort, but through obedience fulfilled in silence. Anointed one, heaven has weighed you and found you ready. What has been restrained is about to move, and what was withheld is now authorized. Chosen one, Scripture declares that the vision waits for its appointed time, yet it will not delay. That hour is pressing close. What is shifting now is not only circumstance but identity. You are being called forward, not as someone becoming, but as someone remembering who you already are. Heaven has not forgotten your name, and destiny has not lost your address. Anointed one, God's reminders do not always arrive as explanations or voices. Sometimes they come as something quiet, simple, and steady that remains when everything else falls silent. What has been prepared here rests in that stillness, waiting without urgency. Chosen one. You have carried silence like armor for a long time, not because you were weak, but because you were being taught restraint. There were seasons when speaking felt costly, when explaining yourself drained more than it healed, and heaven allowed you to grow strong in quiet places. I know that weight. There were days in my own life when I learned that silence can either suffocate you or sharpen you. For you, it sharpened you. Now heaven is shifting the assignment. The season of holding it all in is closing, and the season of speaking with authority is beginning. Anointed one, this is not about noise or performance. This is about alignment. Every word you release from this point forward carries creative weight because it is no longer fueled by desperation, but by discernment. You are not speaking to be seen. You are speaking because something inside you has been stabilized. What once broke you no longer has permission to define you. I have watched moments in my own journey where pain lost its voice the moment I stopped arguing with it and started listening to what it taught me. That same transfer is happening for you now. Chosen one, heaven is intervening in ways you cannot fully track yet. There are doors opening quietly, conversations being rearranged, and resources shifting behind the scenes. This is how divine elevation often begins, not with applause, but with precision. You are stepping into a window of alignment where obedience produces acceleration. It may feel sudden later, but it has been forming patiently. What looks like delay was actually insulation, protecting you until you could carry more without losing yourself. Anointed one, you have always known you were different, and at times that difference felt like isolation. I remember looking at others moving forward easily, while my own path felt heavier, slower, and more expensive emotionally. That weight was not accidental. God does not give light burdens to people meant to carry influence. Your empathy, your sensitivity, your refusal to compromise truth even when it costs you, these are not personality quirks. They are tools. Heaven uses people who feel deeply because they steward impact carefully. Chosen one. This is the moment where your story begins to make sense in reverse. The rejection that once confused you becomes clarity. The relationships that fell apart reveal why they could not go with you. The pressure that exhausted you becomes evidence of preparation. You were never being pushed away from comfort for punishment. You were being pulled toward capacity. God does not waste suffering, He repurposes it. What tried to silence you is now bowing to the authority forming inside you. Anointed One, there is a shift happening in how you see provision. This is not only emotional or spiritual, this is practical. Alignment precedes supply. When the inner order is corrected, the outer flow follows. I have seen this in real life. Moments where peace came before opportunity, where clarity arrived before increase. Heaven does not rush abundance into chaos. It waits for stewardship. And now your inner world is settling. This is why sudden elevation and unexpected provision are closer than you think. Chosen One, do not mistake the tension you still feel as failure. Tension often lives at the edge of transition. The angels who once witnessed your private tears now stand ready to assist your movement. You are not walking alone. You are being guided by hands you cannot see yet, but will soon recognize by their fruit. Trust has been trained into you through loss. That trust is now being activated for movement. Anointed One, your obedience does not need to be loud to be powerful. Let your faith outrun your fear quietly. Let your consistency speak where explanation once lived. You have waited long enough, not in frustration, but in formation. Now it is time to walk, not hurried, not hesitant, but anchored. Go where peace leads you, love where clarity sends you. Shine where others hid, not to prove anything, but because light is now your natural state. Chosen One, the message you have been waiting for did not arrive outside of you. It arrived as a recognition within you. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where divine timing needs you to be for what comes next. Heaven is not asking you to strive. It is inviting you to stand, and what has been prepared will meet you there, quietly, steadily, right on time. Chosen One, you are entering the phase where silence is no longer your shield, but your strength. There was a time when you stayed quiet because you were healing, learning, watching. You did not speak because you were still becoming, but that season is closing now. Heaven does not call you to hide what has already been refined. The same voice that trained you in the stillness is now steady enough to move through you without fear. What you release from this point forward carries weight because it has been seasoned by endurance. You are not speaking from theory, you are speaking from survival. Anointed One, you have felt the pressure increase lately in small but unmistakable ways. Conversations feel heavier, decisions feel sharper, your spirit reacts faster than your mind can explain. This is not anxiety, this is alignment. When heaven prepares to move you, it sharpens your discernment first. You are noticing what drains you and what feeds you. You are sensing when something is out of season. You are less tolerant of compromise, not because you are proud, but because you are awake. Chosen One, there were moments in your life when obedience cost you comfort. You chose integrity when it meant being misunderstood. You chose patience when others rushed ahead. You chose restraint when it would have been easier to react. At the time, it felt like loss. Now you see it was training. Heaven was teaching you how to carry authority without becoming hardened by it. That is why what is coming to you will not corrupt you. You were prepared in obscurity for visible stewardship. Anointed One, this is also why the delay around resources made sense only later. You were not being withheld from, you were being protected. Had provision arrived earlier, it would have attached itself to versions of you that were still learning boundaries. Heaven waits until your character can hold what your hands are about to receive. What looks like a supernatural wealth shift is not sudden from heaven's perspective. It is precise. It arrives when your inner order matches the outer assignment. Chosen One, You may have noticed that old desires no longer move you the same way. Things you once prayed for now feel too small. That is not ingratitude. That is expansion. When God enlarges capacity, appetite changes. You are no longer chasing validation, urgency, or approval. You are drawn towards stability, clarity, and usefulness. This is how you know elevation is near. Your cravings are maturing before your circumstances shift. Anointed One, I have walked through seasons where nothing moved outwardly, yet everything was being rearranged internally. On the surface it looked like waiting. Underneath it was rewiring. That is the stage you are stepping out of now. Heaven does not waste preparation. When movement begins, it often feels quiet at first. Doors open without announcement. Help arrives without explanation. Favor appears without negotiation. This is how alignment works when it is real. Chosen One. Do not be surprised if certain people begin to misunderstand your calm. Peace can be unsettling to those who live in constant reaction. You are not detached, you are anchored. You are no longer driven by fear of loss, because you have already survived what you thought would break you. That survival rewired your nervous system and your faith. You are harder to manipulate now and easier to guide. That combination is rare. Anointed One, heaven is intervening, not with spectacle, but with structure. Your days will begin to organize themselves. Your energy will return in measured ways. Opportunities will come that feel right without needing persuasion. This is the sign of heaven-backed movement. Scripture speaks of appointed time, as written in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. What is aligned arrives without panic. You will recognize it by the absence of striving. Chosen One, this is also the moment where obedience becomes simpler, not easier, but clearer. You no longer need constant confirmation because your spirit recognizes the tone of truth. You will know when to speak and when to remain silent. You will know when to move and when to wait. This clarity is not mystical. It is the result of discipline, prayer, and lived experience. Heaven trusts you now to respond without being pushed. Anointed One, what you are stepping into will bless others, but it will not drain you the way past responsibilities did. This season comes with balance. You are learning to receive without guilt and to give without depletion. That is why this elevation will last. You are no longer trying to prove worth. You are simply stewarding what has been placed in your care. Chosen One. As this part of the journey unfolds, you may feel both gratitude and grief at the same time. Gratitude for what is opening, grief for what cannot come with you. That is normal. Release does not cancel love. It completes a chapter. You are allowed to honor what was while still walking forward. Heaven is not asking you to forget your past, only to stop living inside it. Anointed One, you are not stepping into chaos. You are stepping into order. The kind of order that supports growth instead of consuming it. The kind of order that makes room for rest. The kind of order that allows blessing to circulate instead of overwhelm. This is not the end of your becoming. It is the moment where becoming turns into building. Chosen One. What comes next will not need to shout to prove itself. It will arrive steady, grounded, and unmistakably aligned. And when it does, you will recognize it not by excitement alone, but by peace that holds under pressure. Chosen One. There is a deeper calm settling into you now, not the calm that comes from things finally working out, but the calm that comes from knowing you can stand even if they do not. That calm is evidence of maturity. You are no longer driven by urgency or fear of missing out. You are led by discernment. I recognize this stage because it arrives after disappointment has done its full work. It shows up when you realize that survival taught you more than success ever could. Heaven builds leaders from that place. Anointed One, this is why your reactions have slowed down. You pause where you once rushed. You listen where you once defended. You observe patterns instead of getting pulled into emotion. That is not detachment. That is authority forming quietly. When heaven prepares to entrust influence, it first teaches restraint. You are being trusted with timing now. That is a sign of elevation. Chosen One. You may notice that old battles no longer tempt you. Arguments that once pulled you in now feel unnecessary. Proving yourself feels exhausting instead of motivating. This is because you are no longer operating from wounds. You are operating from wisdom. I have learned that freedom shows itself not in loud victories, but in the absence of certain struggles. What no longer hooks you, no longer controls you. That is a transfer many never reach. Anointed One, heaven is reorganizing your internal hierarchy. What once sat at the center of your decisions is being replaced. Peace is becoming your primary filter. If something costs your peace, it now costs too much. This is not avoidance. This is stewardship. Scripture teaches that wisdom guards the heart because everything flows from it. You are learning that guarding your inner world protects your outer assignment. Chosen One. There is also a strengthening happening in your faith that feels quieter than before. You are not chasing signs. You are recognizing patterns. You are not demanding reassurance. You are resting in trust. This is how faith matures. When belief no longer needs adrenaline to stay alive, it becomes durable. That durability is what allows you to carry responsibility without burning out. Anointed One, you may have noticed that prayer has changed for you. It is less frantic, less performative, more honest. Sometimes it is just presence. That is not weakness. That is intimacy. There were times in my own journey when words failed, and all I could offer was stillness. Those were the moments heaven spoke most clearly. You are learning that closeness does not require constant explanation. Chosen One, this is also why your perception of provision is shifting. You are no longer fixated on how it will come. You are focused on who you are becoming. That order matters. Heaven funds alignment before it funds expansion. When identity stabilizes, resources follow naturally. This is why what is coming to you will not arrive with anxiety attached. It will come with clarity. Anointed One, do not underestimate the significance of this phase. Many pray for blessing without allowing transformation to finish its work. You stayed. You endured the confusion. You did not rush the process. That patience is now returning to you as favor. Scripture reminds us that perseverance completes its work, so nothing is lacking. You are seeing that completion now. Chosen One, you are also becoming more aware of your influence, even when you do not try to use it. People listen differently now. Your presence carries steadiness. This is not something you forced. It is something you earned through integrity. Influence that comes this way does not intoxicate. It humbles. That humility is what keeps it clean. Anointed One, you may feel moments of doubt still arise, but they do not stay. They knock and leave. That is progress. Faith does not mean the absence of doubt. It means doubt no longer dictates direction. You are learning to acknowledge thoughts without obeying them. That is mastery. That is spiritual adulthood. Chosen One, heaven is also teaching you how to receive without apology. You are no longer minimizing your growth to keep others comfortable. You are no longer shrinking to maintain peace. You are allowing yourself to occupy the space you have been prepared for. That does not make you arrogant, it makes you obedient. Expansion requires permission from within before it manifests without. Anointed One, some relationships will adjust as you do. That is not betrayal, that is alignment. Not everyone can walk with you into the next structure of your life. Honor what was shared. Release what no longer fits. Heaven does not remove people to punish them or you. It rearranges proximity to protect purpose. Chosen One. This stage is also marked by a deeper sense of responsibility, not heavy but clear. You are aware that what you carry is meant to serve, not elevate ego. That awareness keeps you grounded. When God entrusts influence, He looks for those who understand that power is for protection, not control. You are being shaped into that kind of leader. Anointed One, your story will not need embellishment. The truth will be enough. You will speak from lived experience, not theory. People will recognize themselves in your honesty. That is how real guidance works. It does not impress, it resonates. Heaven uses voices like that because they restore without dominating. Chosen One. As you move forward, remember that clarity does not mean everything will be easy. It means you will know where to place your energy. You will choose your battles wisely. You will rest without guilt. You will work without panic. This balance is not accidental, it is cultivated. Anointed One, the next phase will ask you to build, not rush. To steward, not prove. To remain teachable, even as doors open. You are ready for that because you have learned how to listen. What has been forming in you will soon express through you, naturally, steadily, without strain. Chosen One. What lies ahead does not require you to become someone else. It requires you to remain who you have become. And that is enough. Chosen One. There is a kind of tiredness that does not come from effort alone, but from carrying hope longer than expected. You wake up, do what needs to be done, stay faithful in small ways, and yet the visible shift seems slow. This is not a sign that something is wrong. This is the weight-bearing stage of promise. It is where endurance replaces adrenaline, and faith learns how to breathe without applause. Anointed One, I know this stretch well. It is the season where you still believe, but belief feels quieter. You are not losing fire, you are learning how to tend it without spectacle. There were days when I expected clarity to arrive like a wave, and instead it came like routine. Prayer before the day began, gratitude at night when nothing dramatic happened, showing up again when yesterday looked the same. That is not stagnation, that is consistency forming strength. Chosen One. Heaven does not rush what must last. What is maturing in you requires rhythm, not rush. That is why the pace slowed. That is why the emotional highs were replaced with steadiness. You are being trained to carry fulfillment without collapsing under it. Many want the promise, but few are willing to live faithfully while it ripens. You stayed. That matters more than you know. Anointed One, there are moments when the waiting tests your memory. You begin to ask yourself if you imagined the calling, if the confirmation was real, if the timing passed you by. That questioning does not disqualify you. It reveals that you care deeply about walking rightly. The danger is not doubt. The danger is forgetting. Forgetting how far you have come. Forgetting who sustained you when nothing made sense. Chosen One, this is why remembrance becomes holy in this phase. Not nostalgia, but grounding. Remembering how you were carried before you understood why. Remembering the quiet rescues, the unseen protection, the strength that showed up when you had none. When I look back, I do not see a straight line. I see faithfulness stitched through ordinary days. That is what holds you now. Anointed one, your fatigue is not failure. It is evidence of investment. You have poured yourself out without guarantees. You have chosen obedience without immediate reward. That kind of giving drains emotion before it delivers fruit. Heaven sees that. Scripture speaks of those who do not grow weary in doing good, not because weariness never comes, but because it does not get the final word. Chosen one. There is also a subtle refining happening in how you measure progress. You no longer judge your life by feelings alone. You look for alignment, not excitement. Peace, not pressure. Direction, not noise. That shift is maturity. It means you are learning to trust the process even when the pace feels slow. This is the kind of faith that holds when circumstances fluctuate. Anointed one, faith is often steadied through simple, repeatable reminders rather than constant explanation or dramatic signs. A quiet reminder has been gently placed below in the description or the pinned comment. And still, heaven continues its work in you beyond words. What you are living right now is not the absence of movement, but the deepening of roots. Chosen one. Roots grow in darkness, unseen, without affirmation, yet they determine everything that rises later. If your life feels hidden, it is because something strong is being established beneath the surface. When growth finally shows, it will not need defense. It will stand on its own. Anointed one, this is also where daily faith becomes sacred. Not the kind that announces itself, but the kind that keeps showing up. You choose honesty over performance, rest over burnout, presence over distraction. These are not small decisions. They are the architecture of long-term blessing. Chosen one. There were days when I thought faith meant constant clarity. I learned instead that it often means continuing with integrity when clarity is partial. Doing the next right thing without needing the full picture. That lesson changed how I wait. Waiting became active, not passive. Faithful, not frantic. You are learning this now. Anointed one, you may notice that impatience rises at unexpected times. It does not mean you are regressing. It means something real is at stake. When the promise draws near, the tension often increases. Stay gentle with yourself here. You are not required to feel strong every day. You are only required to remain willing. Chosen one, consistency is the language of trust. Heaven responds to those who keep their word when no one is watching. When you return to prayer even when it feels quiet. When you choose integrity even when shortcuts are available. When you stay kind even when exhaustion tempts you to withdraw. These choices accumulate. They prepare the ground for what comes next. Anointed one, the waiting is not empty. It is filled with formation. You are learning how to live with promise without letting it consume you, how to hope without obsession, how to trust without urgency. That balance is rare. It is also necessary. Chosen one, do not underestimate what is being built in this phase. The capacity to hold joy without fear, the ability to receive without guilt, the strength to lead without losing compassion. These things are forged slowly. You cannot hurry them. You can only remain present while they take shape. Anointed one, heaven is not asking you to push harder. It is asking you to stay rooted, to keep returning to what is true, to let faith be steady rather than loud. This is not the pause before nothing. This is the pause before endurance turns into manifestation. Chosen one, hold this ground, not with tension but with trust. What has been promised has not gone silent. It is simply gathering weight. Chosen one, There is a threshold you are approaching where waiting no longer feels like restraint, but responsibility. You are not just hoping anymore. You are carrying something that requires steadiness. The promise is no longer distant enough to be abstract, yet not visible enough to be confirmed. This in-between space is where many lose focus, not because they lack faith, but because faith here asks for maturity instead of emotion. Anointed One, you are learning how to live while the promise remains unfinished. That is a sacred skill. There are ordinary mornings where nothing dramatic happens, yet you choose alignment anyway. You show up to your life without needing constant reassurance. You keep your values intact, even when no one is watching. That quiet consistency is not boring to heaven, it is precious. Chosen One, this is the phase where temptation changes shape. It no longer looks like obvious wrong choices. It looks like subtle compromises. Rushing when patience is required, explaining when silence would protect you, settling for partial peace because full alignment takes longer. These are not moral failures. They are pressure points, and you are being trained to recognize them without panic. Anointed One, there were moments in my own journey when I almost traded depth for relief. I wanted answers more than growth. I wanted movement more than wisdom. Looking back, I am grateful those doors stayed closed. What felt like delay preserved something in me that later made fulfillment sustainable. You are being spared in the same way now. Chosen One, your discernment is sharpening even when your circumstances appear unchanged. You sense when something is not yours without needing to test it. You feel when an invitation carries hidden cost. You recognize when urgency is not divine. This awareness did not come overnight. It was built through disappointment, reflection, and choosing truth over comfort. Anointed One, this is why heaven can trust you with what is coming. You are no longer chasing outcomes. You are guarding alignment. You are not trying to force doors open. You are watching which ones open without resistance. That posture keeps you from unnecessary loss. It also keeps your heart intact. Chosen One, there is also a quiet courage growing in you, not the kind that announces itself, but the kind that remains steady under uncertainty. You are less afraid of not knowing. You are more willing to wait without resentment. That courage is born from experience. You have survived enough to know that lack of clarity does not equal abandonment. Anointed One, the promise is not delayed because you missed something. It is delayed because it is connected to timing beyond you. Other people are being prepared. Other conditions are being aligned. Other pieces are moving into place. What you are asked to do now is remain faithful to what is in front of you, not anxious about what is ahead. Chosen One, this is where many feel unseen. You may wonder if your faithfulness matters when nothing appears to shift. It does. Heaven counts what people overlook. Every time you choose integrity when shortcuts are available, every time you rest instead of striving, every time you refuse to let bitterness take root, these moments are not wasted. They are recorded. Anointed One, you are also learning how to carry hope without letting it dominate your identity. You are not defined by what has not happened yet. You are present in your life now. That balance keeps you whole. It prevents the promise from becoming an idol. It allows fulfillment to arrive as a gift, not a demand. Chosen One, there is strength in this stage that cannot be rushed. You are building spiritual muscle that will be required later. When elevation comes, it will come with responsibility. When increase comes, it will require boundaries. When visibility comes, it will test humility. What you are developing now will hold you steady then. Anointed One, you may notice that your prayers have become simpler, less asking, more listening, less explaining, more trusting. That simplicity is not a lack of depth. It is depth distilled. You are learning that presence can be more powerful than words, that surrender can be more effective than effort. Chosen one, this is also a season where comparison loses its grip. You are less interested in where others are and more committed to where you are meant to be. That freedom did not come easily. It came through disappointment and release. It came through realizing that your path cannot be measured by someone else's timeline. Anointed one, heaven does not reward speed, it rewards alignment. What is being prepared for you requires you to arrive whole, not rushed. That is why this stage feels slower. You are being asked to arrive ready, not early. Chosen one, do not despise this phase. It is doing something in you that nothing else could. It is teaching you how to remain faithful without feedback, how to trust without proof, how to stay soft without becoming fragile. These qualities are rare. They are also necessary for what is next. Anointed one, you are closer than you think, but closeness does not always feel like excitement. Sometimes it feels like quiet resolve, a settled knowing, a calm commitment to keep walking without needing to see the entire road. That is where you are now. Chosen one, stay here with patience, not passive, not numb, but grounded. What is forming beneath the surface will soon carry weight above it, and when the shift happens, you will recognize it not by shock, but by familiarity. Chosen one, there is a moment when endurance quietly turns into authority, and you are standing near it now. Not because everything has resolved, but because you no longer panic when it has not. Your steadiness has become visible in the unseen. Heaven watches how you carry uncertainty, not just how you celebrate fulfillment. This is the phase where trust is no longer theoretical, it is embodied. Anointed one, you are learning how to hold weight without becoming heavy. Responsibilities no longer intimidate you the way they once did. You still feel the gravity of them, but you are not crushed by it. That change did not come from confidence alone. It came from repetition, from showing up on days when motivation was low and integrity was still required. That kind of faith builds quiet authority. Chosen one, you may notice that your inner dialogue has changed. You are less harsh with yourself. You no longer interpret every delay as personal failure. You have learned the difference between accountability and condemnation. That distinction matters now. Heaven entrusts influence to those who can correct themselves without destroying themselves. Anointed one, there were seasons when you thought strength meant pushing through everything. You now understand that strength also means knowing when to pause, when to rest without guilt, when to say no without explanation. These boundaries are not walls, they are supports. They allow you to carry what is coming without collapse. Chosen one, this is also where endurance begins to look ordinary from the outside. You are living your life, working, caring, showing up. Yet something has shifted beneath the surface. Your reactions are cleaner, your choices are clearer, your faith is quieter but firmer. That is the sign of internal alignment. Nothing flashy, nothing forced, just rooted stability. Anointed one, I remember realizing that real spiritual growth did not always feel like victory. Sometimes it felt like neutrality, peace without excitement, confidence without certainty. That realization changed how I judged progress. You are learning that now. Faith does not always surge. Sometimes it settles. That settling is not stagnation, it is foundation. Chosen one, heaven is also teaching you how to wait without withdrawing. You are present in your life even while you wait. You still love, you still create, you still participate. You have not put your life on hold for the promise. That balance keeps your heart alive. It ensures that fulfillment will add to your life, not replace it. Anointed One, endurance is not about surviving pain indefinitely. It is about adapting to carry purpose sustainably. You are being trained to last. That training is rarely dramatic. It happens in routine faithfulness, in choosing patience over pressure, in returning to truth when emotions fluctuate. Chosen One, you may feel moments of restlessness still rise. That does not mean you are off course. Restlessness often appears when capacity has expanded, but assignment has not fully manifested. Something in you is ready before something around you catches up. That gap can feel uncomfortable. It is also temporary. Anointed One, heaven does not waste readiness. When the environment aligns, movement will follow. Until then, you are being asked to remain anchored. Not passive, anchored. Anchors do not stop movement. They prevent drift. You are not drifting. Chosen One. There is also a deepening humility taking shape in you. Not self-doubt, but awareness. You recognize that what is coming will require grace beyond your own. That awareness keeps you dependent without making you weak. Heaven favors that posture. It keeps power clean. Anointed One, you are learning how to carry hope without broadcasting it. You hold it privately. You protect it. That is wisdom. Not everything needs to be shared while it is still forming. Some things grow best in quiet. Chosen One. As endurance settles into you, fear loses its leverage. It may still appear, but it does not govern you. You acknowledge it and keep walking. That is courage refined. Courage that does not need to prove itself. Anointed One, this part of the journey is not about acceleration. It is about stabilization. What stabilizes now will support later expansion. Heaven builds in this order intentionally. Chosen One, remain where you are without frustration, not stuck, positioned. The strength you are gaining here will soon be needed, and you will be grateful it was formed slowly. Chosen One. There is a quiet shift happening now, where endurance begins to translate into readiness. Not readiness as confidence, but readiness as capacity. You are no longer asking if you can handle what is coming. You are learning how to hold it without strain. That is the difference. Heaven does not release weight to those still measuring themselves. It releases weight to those who have stopped negotiating with fear. Anointed One, this stage often feels subtle because it is internal. Nothing announces it. No one congratulates you. Yet something inside you has settled into agreement. You no longer resist the process. You cooperate with it. That cooperation is powerful. It signals trust, not passivity. It tells heaven that you are no longer fighting the timing, only stewarding the present. Chosen One. You may notice that you are less reactive to uncertainty. When plans change, you adjust instead of unraveling. When answers delay, you stay grounded instead of spiraling. That emotional regulation is not detachment, it is maturity. I learned this only after realizing how much energy I lost reacting to things that were never meant to define my direction. You are reclaiming that energy now. Anointed One, you are also becoming more intentional with where you place your attention. You no longer give unlimited access to your thoughts, your time, or your hope. You are selective, not guarded out of fear, but protected out of wisdom. That shift keeps your spirit clear. It prevents unnecessary depletion. Heaven values this kind of stewardship. Chosen One. There is also a refining happening in how you listen. You are less influenced by noise, opinion, or urgency. You recognize the difference between information and direction, between suggestion and assignment. This discernment did not come from isolation alone. It came from lived experience. From watching what happens when you move too soon and learning to wait without resentment. Anointed One, this is why your inner world feels quieter even when circumstances are not perfect. Silence is no longer empty, it is full of awareness. You are not searching for meaning, you are inhabiting it. That presence changes how you carry yourself. Others may feel it before they understand it. Chosen One, you are also learning how to release outcomes without releasing responsibility. You still show up fully, you still act with integrity, but you no longer cling to results as proof of worth. That freedom is essential for what is next. Influence that depends on outcome becomes unstable. Influence rooted in obedience endures. Anointed One, there were times when you believed endurance meant tolerating everything. You now know endurance also includes discernment, knowing when to stay and when to step back, knowing what to carry and what to lay down. Heaven does not ask you to endure what it has not assigned. You are learning to tell the difference. Chosen One, this part of the journey often reveals who and what can move forward with you. Some connections remain strong, others naturally loosen. This is not loss, it is alignment. What is meant to grow with you will not require you to shrink. What is meant to stay will not drain you. Trust the adjustments without making them personal. Anointed One, your patience has depth now. It is not forced, it is chosen. You wait without bitterness, you trust without denial. That balance is rare. It keeps your heart open while your boundaries stay intact. Heaven honors that posture. Chosen One, you may feel moments of anticipation rise, not as anxiety, but as readiness. A quiet sense that something is approaching. Do not rush to define it. Let it arrive in its own clarity. When the shift comes, it will not feel foreign. It will feel like the natural next step of who you have become. Anointed One, you are also becoming more comfortable with not being fully understood. You no longer explain your process to everyone. You do not need constant agreement. That does not mean you are withdrawn. It means you are grounded. Grounded people do not chase validation. They carry presence. Chosen One, there is a humility growing alongside your strength. You recognize that what you carry is not self-generated. That awareness keeps you dependent without being insecure. Heaven trusts those who know where their strength comes from. It keeps power from becoming heavy or distorted. Anointed One, the endurance you have developed is not just for you. It will become a shelter for others. People will find steadiness near you without knowing why. That influence will not require words. It will flow from who you are becoming. Chosen One, you are nearing the point where preparation begins to transition into expression, not all at once, not dramatically, but clearly. The foundation you have built will support what emerges. Nothing will be wasted. Nothing will collapse under pressure. Anointed One, remain present. Remain anchored.